about your heritage,
Sure.
title, and so forth. So you've got the camera
Okay,
for as long as you like.
Okay, great. Back in 2003, it was a bit of a frustrating time in the grape industry in our area. Prices were very low. We had difficult harvests. And a group of people got together to see if they could do something about that. And we all felt that there was a need for promotion of our grape industry. We've been in the area for 150 years or more, and we feel there's a great story to tell about what is the oldest and largest Concord grape growing region in the world. There's other Concord grape growing regions in the country. It's a pretty unique grape to grow, and it doesn't grow everywhere. But Westfield area and the whole grape belt from Harbor Creek to Silver Creek has been where we've done this for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And out of that frustration and just uneasiness about our market, we want to be here for many, many more years, and we feel there was a need to promote. So the Concord Grape Belt Heritage Association was established back there in 2003, and we're a pretty diverse group of not only processors of grape juice or grape products, but also farmers, tourism people, municipalities, leaders in different villages and towns, and we have about 150 members. We have a website, concordgrapebelt.org, which is a very useful place to go to and see what this group has been doing for the last 7 years or so now. But our big project for all those years, we've done many things. We've created a tourism DVD to tell the story of the Grape Belt many years ago. And one of the big things we did was an economic impact study to show the impact of the grape industry that has on the two-county region. And that has helped us as we go and try to tell our story and get help and support for telling that story.
Okay, let's hold for a second now. So this is one of the things that when I did an article for Silver and I interviewed you, Dave, is that this is an industry that's been around for 150 years. And I bet the typical person on the street does not realize the economic impact of the industry on our daily lives. Could you just give us some figures and facts? I know you haven't read the fingertips, but listen to this, folks. You're not going to believe this.
Well, it all really starts with the 900 family farms that are in the area.
I had no idea there was 900.
Yeah.
I would have guessed 100.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the way ranging from small farms of a couple acres up to a couple hundred acres for the larger operations. But that's where it starts. But those farmers that grow grapes, whether they're primarily Concord and Niagara grapes from our region, the native varieties, the Concords, the Niagaras, the Catawbas, that's what grows well here. But there are also people growing grapes for many of the growing number of wineries that we have in the area. But it starts there, but they need a processor. They need somebody to take those grapes and put them into wine or juice or jelly or even grapeseed oil.
Right.
And that processor needs a market, and they need to be able to sell into that market. And if people don't know about the products that are grown in the area, and there's no good marketing and telling of the story, it's hard to continue to capture the imagination of the buying public and the consumers. And they're very healthful products. And that story resonates more and more these days. And also where people would come to this area and they would buy a juice or a jelly or a wine. It's a local product, and the wineries push that quite a bit these days. It doesn't come from miles and miles away. Right. You know, it's a good, local, healthful product.
So what is it about our area that makes the Concord grape industry unique to this area? Because this is kind of an important piece that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, the Concord grape is grown in few areas in the country. Here along the southern shore of Lake Erie, in southwestern Michigan, and in the Yakima Valley of Washington State. And then if you buy Concord grapes products, those are the three main growing areas.
So why just those three? Why not just any place?
Concord requires a certain amount of dormant period for the vine to grow. It also needs a certain amount of a growing season. And Lake Erie provides that dormancy and the growing season. In the springtime, the lake is cold and the farmers like to see ice on the lake. That's sort of their insurance policy from a bud coming out too soon and getting hit by an early spring frost. And in the fall, that warm lake, which generates a lot of snow in the snow belt, it also helps to keep the grapes, as they're being harvested and coming to full maturity, a little more time to reach their peak.
Okay, I have a little story to tell you, okay, and I don't think I shared this with you yet. Okay, I mentioned that Barb and I were on a cruise a couple weeks ago, all right? This is a true story. Yeah. So there we are on a little tour in Maui, all right? This is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and this gentleman is telling us all about the Hawaiian traditions and about the missionaries that came over to the Hawaiian Islands in the early 1800s, and we're walking around the missionary in the house, and so we walk in the backyard, and they have these trellises, and the guy's remarking, and this is where they have their grapes. And he says, but they're not quite ripe yet. And I'm looking up there, and I'm going, well, I know quite a bit about grapes. So I said, well, what type of grapes are they? You're never going to believe this. He said, they're Concords. Woo. So they grow in Hawaii too. Okay. Well, I got to tell you, folks, they had like 6 vines, and they didn't look anywhere to the health and wealth of the grapes in Chautauqua County. But the thing is that they do have a particular need for certain environments, and we're fortunate to have this. Okay, so we got this grape industry. So now, what does this have to do with the heritage business, the Discovery Center? Put it all together now. Right. So how's this all going to work?
Well, the need for the marketing part is really what the Grape Discovery Center is about, and there's various locations through the country that have been established already to tell a story about a certain agricultural crop. And we studied that before we got into this project. There's a center in Wisconsin, in the middle of rural Wisconsin, along I-94. There's not much to see out there, but that's where a lot of the most cranberries in the country are grown in Wisconsin, in these bogs. So we visited the Wisconsin Cranberry Discovery Center to see how they tell the story of that particular product and make it useful to promote what they grow there.
So you're kind of using them for a little bit of a model?
We definitely use them as a model, and what was interesting about that location was being out in the middle of rural America with not much else for a person to get off of the main interstate between Chicago and Minneapolis to stop for. They put their billboards up on either side of their exit with not other reason to stop, and they get 50,000 plus visitors a year to come through there.
50,000? Wow. So the idea now is that this Discovery Center that's in Westfield is going to do the same kind of an idea?
It has a similar situation where along I-90 we have a need, a desire to get people off of that highway and have them stop in our communities and spend money. The number 1 industry in New York State is agriculture, but the number 2 industry is tourism. So those are 2 things that we can build on without trying to do anything new. Just take the assets we have and build on them to help promote not only the industry, but help the surrounding areas with tourism.
Okay, so we have a 150-year-old industry. We have a need to promote that industry, which is what you guys kind of formed this group.
Right.
Okay, and then you got a special entitlement from New York State. Can you talk a little bit about that? This is very unique.
Yeah, well, we came up with this idea to create a discovery center, a place to tell the story of the Concord grape belt and the products grown here. We needed a building. We looked at many sites, and we came up with a great site there at the old Ford dealership in Westfield and West Main Road. It's got a beautiful view of the escarpment. It's got very ample parking. I used to sell a lot of cars there, so there's a lot of spots for people to park and come into a Discovery Center. But we always figured that was a $2 million project right from the very beginning. And the capital part of buying, acquiring the building, and renovating an old car dealership to take the space of what you would want to be as a welcome center for visitors, that was a good half of the project cost. And the way we got that started was with a lot of support from State Senator Kathy Young. She got the group announced back in August of 2008 a New York State revitalization grant to not only fund the acquisition of the building, but also the renovations of that building.
Okay, let's hold a second. I understand we have a caller. So, caller, good morning.
Oh, good morning. This is Linda Spalding. How are you?
Good. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Morning, Linda.
I'm fine, thank you. It's good to see the show this morning. I'm calling as a concerned citizen. I'm not calling on behalf of the position that I have to advertise for senior employment. I just want to remind seniors to please contact their local legislative elected officials about proposed further budget cuts for the Office for the Aging. And this involves, this will have a big impact on the adult daycare centers, the Meals on Wheels program, the senior dining sites, the assessments for home care for frail elderly. Now, these services allow frail elderly to remain in their home or with a family member, so they do not have to seek nursing homes, either assisted or skilled nursing facilities. And we all know the tremendous astronomical cost of skilled nursing facilities,
For sure.
about $80,000 a year. Few people can afford that, so it goes on our Medicaid bill. And our taxes pick up or absorb the Medicaid costs. So if we're looking at budget cuts, this is actually going to inflate the budget in a few years if these seniors are compelled to seek nursing facilities. So I urge all interested citizens who care about seniors or who are seniors to contact their elected officials.
Okay. Well, Linda, thank you. I know that you certainly have been a regular on the show and concerned about our seniors. Is there anybody in particular they should contact?
Their own elected legislative representative in their district.
Okay.
That's who they should contact.
One of the 25 legislators.
Yes,
Okay.
in their area.
All right.
And so this is very crucial. There was an open forum on Wednesday night of the legislature. It was conducted at Chautauqua Lake School Auditorium. There were a number of seniors there. Some made some very excellent comments on how to cut the budget, but not to impinge on seniors or are frail who live in this area. Our seniors 60 years of age or over are about 18% in Chautauqua County.
Wow.
So we have a good number of seniors.
Okay. Well, thank you for that information, and hopefully this will go out throughout the county when it's rebroadcasted, and we appreciate your call. Okay?
Yes, people should tell their officials how they feel. Now, Frank Bursick, who is the director of the adult daycare centers for Chautauqua County, was going to call in this morning, but I don't know if he was able to get through because he doesn't live close to this area.
Sure.
So I don't know if he was able to make it or not.
Okay.
But I did recommend that he call in.
Okay, well, we'll take that under advisement for everyone, and anything else?
No, that's it. Just have a great day.
Okay,
I'm
and
enjoying your show.
Have you seen the new Grape Discovery Center yet?
No, I have to.
Okay, well, stay tuned because Dave's going to tell us more about that, okay?
All right.
All right, Linda, have a great day, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Boy, you know, we're talking about financial impact. I mean, we try to put money here, and the money goes over there, and then meanwhile, we're trying to do the grape industry. I mean, wow, it's confusing, isn't it?
And that's one of the points we made to our donors at our fundraising kickoff this week on October 28th. The building's not done. It's renovated, but we need to furnish it inside and get a business started.
Okay, so let me regroup again. I have to do this from time to time because I lose track, as you can tell, I'm kind of wily. All right, so now we're talking about the fact that you got a special title or classification from the state, and that now gave you the opportunity to write for grants. And Kathy Young got you some money, and you said it was about how much?
$1,050,000.
All right, so there's $1 million coming into the county, and this allowed you to secure the building, which is the old Ford dealership, And tell us about the renovations. I mean, when you think of a dealership, you typically think of large windows and